Login complete. Welcome to Alyx's world.
Hello all, and welcome to Alyx's world, a safe space for wrestling fans like you. You know who it is, your boy Alyx, just Alyx. So, those of you who have not been watching my last two live streams, you probably don't know, so I'm here to tell you right now. The reason that you are getting a Q&A today, first off, I haven't done one in a long time. I think the last one I did was last year, literally a year ago. I should do these more. I just need what's called mental health days. Guys, you got to understand something. Sorry about the light. I don't want that to be in the frame. That actually looks better. I like that better too. You guys have to understand that this content creation thing that I do, this isn't a 9-to-5 job. It's 24/7. Around the clock. There are times when I make a video, I'm up from, I'll film the video at maybe 10 a.m., 11 a.m., and then it'll take me a good maybe 3 to 4 hours to edit it, to make it look good, to make it look crisp, to make it presentable. And then if it's perfect, I upload it, and then I have the rest of the day to myself. But 9 times out of 10, it's not perfect, and I find mistakes, and so I have to redo the process. So that's another 3 to 4 hours. And then I have to render it, and then upload it. By the time it's up, I've spent 12 hours making a video. So what makes these live streams great for me is that I don't have to edit. I do the live stream, I do the presentation during the show, and then I throw it out there. That makes my job a lot easier. But still, this stuff that you do on a regular basis, if you don't have your mental health days, it will burn you out. That's for all content creation. Doesn't matter whether it's on YouTube, doesn't matter whether it's TikTok, doesn't matter whether it's Instagram, Facebook. This stuff it takes a lot of work. And so many people, even now, people still look at me and go, "You don't have a real job." My friend, I know it's great looking at me and going, "Oh, he gets to be on camera all day. I wouldn't want to be on camera." No, you don't. I don't want to insult anybody here, but these ignorant people, because they are ignorant, they don't realize that, okay, yes, you have a job, a well-paid job that you do 7 to 3, 9 to 5, sometimes 10 to 10, 10 to 8, and you do 40 to 60 hours a week, right? Jesus, that sounds nice. You just work a certain amount of hours a day, and then you go home, right? And depending on the workload, there are some people who work harder than me, and you make more money than me, as you should. Thank you very much for your service. But then you got others that are just clerks, or just have a job at the corner store, who do $7.25 an hour, and they want to come up here and tell you that you don't have a job. And they're the main ones criticizing me. And the thing about that is, do you understand the type of heat I have to deal with simply by existing? The N-word gets tossed my way daily. There hasn't been one day yet that I haven't seen that word. And the reason why I see it is because I read all my comments. And I do that because I respect the people who take the time to watch me. And that's a consequence that I've chosen. Listen, by doing content creation, by doing this on a regular basis, you have basically told yourself that you're going to serve multiple masters. That one job that you got, you serve one master, one boss that pays you. Maybe you serve a supervisor. So maybe 2 or 3. Okay. I serve hundreds, thousands of bosses. That all it takes is a few of them to just fall off, and that could affect my entire revenue. You tell me which one is worse. I love what I do. I enjoy being my own boss. I enjoy making my own schedule. And I enjoy the work that I do. But there come times where I need mental health days. Tomorrow is that mental health day. So as a result, this long-winded intro is me saying there will not be a SmackDown review tomorrow. Because of that. If something crazy happens on SmackDown, I will happily come up here Saturday and do an upload or maybe even another live stream to talk about it. But Friday is my mental health day. And to make up for that, I'm doing a Q&A today. Some of you will understand, some of you won't. I'm okay with that. Now, I'm going to make up for it with a weekend full of live streams. Collision tomorrow, Collision on Saturday, And then, of course, Sunday is the review of AEW Forbidden Door. And then the very next week, literally next week, is Money in the Bank. So that's Raw, SmackDown. I'll be here to do Raw and SmackDown for Money in the Bank. And then we're going to wrap up my last live stream of Collision next week for the time being, because I need Saturdays to be my mental health day again. Saturdays is usually my mental health day. And also, that's going to be a very special day for something else that I'm not ready to talk about yet. So that's why. That's why I have just condensed the usual live stream production to just Raw, AEW, then Q&A this week, and then this weekend you'll get all the live streams you need. So I'm not gonna really waste your time. I see a lot of questions coming my way in the live chat. Thank you to everyone who's joined me. We're gonna do 2 topics. We're gonna open things up with 2 wrestling news topics, and then we're gonna get right to the Q&A. I'm gonna start things off with this news report from Fightful Select. And it simply says, and I love this, it says, Ricochet reveals that Vince McMahon has involvement in WWE creative. Doi! Thanks, Ricochet. It's not like we already didn't know that by watching the show! I wasn't supposed to be yelling, by the way. I told myself I'm too tired to yell, but guess what? Saying Vince McMahon just gets my blood pumping. So I'm going to read you this article for you. Those of you who aren't following Fightful Select, please give them a follow. Sean Rossap does an excellent job with that wrestling news website. He really goes out of his way to give you the best news that there is to have. So, do I want to pull this up or do I just want to read it? Nah, I'm gonna pull it up. Let me pull it up. Let me pull it up on the screen because I want to give them proper credit. So here you go. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Just gonna read the stuff that's important. But it's Fightful Select, and it says Vince McMahon is still involved and still talked to in WWE. Thank you, Ricochet. So here's what he actually said. He said the following: Vince is still involved, and Vince is still talked to. He's still someone that everyone looks to, especially with creative. Ugh. So he's got his fingers in everything too. I think Triple H and everybody in creative is just trying to do the best they can and bringing out the best in who they have. They're trying to work to everyone's strengths. I think that's something that Triple H has always done. They want to grow the brand as much as possible. Whether it's Raw or SmackDown or NXT, they're trying to highlight the strengths of everybody. I think it's been great so far. Everybody sees the popularity of the brand now, so they just want to expand it as much as possible. I think what they've been doing recently with everybody has been great. Everybody's been going out there and giving it their all. So I don't know who these everybody's are, Ricochet, but I do know 2 names that aren't those everybody's. Those 2 names are Ronda Rousey and Sheamus, who have essentially come out and said they're not happy with their creative, which is refreshing. It's really refreshing to hear that. People who just pretend everything is great. But I'm not knocking Ricochet. He's trying to maintain the fact that he's on TV and not screw up the poodle. Not screw the pooch. That being said, I gotta say it. And I saw someone even in the live chat. Jason Lewis, I see you right there. People still right now, they still out here saying that Vince McMahon is not back in charge. Y'all, these guys are living in a fantasy world. You are. I'm sorry that you think that Vince McMahon is still retired. Or he's not even retired. You can't even say that. That's not even factually true. He came back. He's still working. But the fact that you think he's not in creative. So what? I don't understand why you can't just say Vince is running the show again. What does that do? Okay, so the show sucks. Why can't you blame it on Vince? Why do you have to use Triple H as a scapegoat, which I see a lot of, by the way, on social media? I'm seeing people say, well, how do you know it's not Triple H? Because the booking got worse. When it was Triple H, everything made sense. It wasn't always fantastic. It was a little bland sometimes, but that was always going to be the case when you're rebuilding the roster. You're going to have some bland shows. But over time, they would get better because you're telling stories, right? Okay. So when you've conditioned your audience that you're telling stories, then you're in it for the long run. You're in it for the long term. You're in it not just from week to week. All right, this week was a little boring, but let me watch it to see what's going on and then see how things develop the very next week. That's Triple H. That's not been the case lately. Because lately, nothing makes any sense. Literally nothing. You had champions from different exclusive brands. Raw Championship on SmackDown. SmackDown Championship on Raw. You had all this dumb shit with SmackDown talent appearing on Raw when there isn't supposed to be that happening. There's a brand split now. That's still happening, by the way. You have so many talent just not getting TV time all of a sudden. Oh, I wonder whose fault that is. These explanations for certain things just not making any goddamn sense. Logan Paul just being added to Money in the Bank when all these other wrestlers had to work for it. Seth Rollins says, oh, I'm a Raw exclusive champion, but then defends his belt on NXT. Like, none of this shit makes any sense. And therefore, when stuff stops making sense, you stop respecting it. Tell me when I'm telling lies. And so this whole idea that it's all Triple H's fault, people who say that are too scared to blame it on Vince for some reason. Why? You think Vince is going to give you $1 million by kissing his ass? It's not happening. He doesn't give a shit about you. He never will. Because you have no value to him. You don't. We need to stop living in a fantasy world that he's not in charge. You can't even pretend that he's not there no more because Ricochet just told you he's involved. He's back. Well, maybe Triple H is doing 50% and Vince is doing 50%. Sure, Triple H might have input, but who ultimately makes the decisions? Vince McMahon. You know this. There's been reports for like over 2 months now that Triple H would write a show and then Vince would go in and make changes. So if Vince could just go in and change the script, who's in charge? It ain't Triple H. Can we stop living in this fantasy world? Stop acting like Vince shit doesn't stink. You're not gonna get him to hire you or give you $1 million. At this point, if you're doing it, you're just doing it to troll. You're just doing it to get people aroused up because you need something to make people angry about because it makes you feel better about your life. Ooh. Seriously. Be real. You love seeing people miserable because you need something to keep your mind off of what's going on in your life. That's what people do when they troll. It's kind of sad, really. But that's all right. I mean, if you have to go as far as to troll somebody because of a wrestling show, a wrestling product, of people reading a news report that said Vince McMahon is back, and you don't want to believe it, that's just a reflection of who you are and what you're doing with your life. So, let's put it to rest. We're putting it to bed. Okay? Vince McMahon is back. You knew about this. This isn't news. It's just now the wrestlers are finally coming out and saying it. So now it's not disputable. It's undisputed. That's how you use the term undisputed. You can no longer say he's not in charge. Because he is. Sheamus. Sheamus is also in the news. So, as I mentioned, Sheamus is also frustrated with his WWE booking, similar to a Ronda Rousey. And I love that we've reached a point where wrestlers are just coming out and expressing themselves. They ain't got time to mess with some of these people. I am excited to see more of this. And honestly, more people should speak up about their bad booking. I shouldn't be the one doing it. It has a lot more effect when the wrestlers themselves do it. When the people who actually work there, who actually go and do the job, when they complain, it carries more weight. So I love that Sheamus has decided that he's not going to deal with the bullshit anymore. Well, he hasn't really said that, but it's one of those things where he's speaking up about it now. He's still going to go to work tomorrow night on SmackDown and probably work and do a match that doesn't matter. But man, like, if you listen to what he has to say, it's hard to disagree with them. Let me pull it up for you. We're going to go to Twitter for this one. We're going to the Twitter. My Twitter, to be exact. So here's what he had to say. He spoke to, who is this? McGeorge of Metro. Well, here's what he had to say about how WWE has been handling the Brawling Brutes. He says, I just don't think they've really capitalized on the group. I don't think they've really let us show what we can do. This stop-start stuff is really hard when you're trying to highlight your young talent. It's frustrating, you know? So I don't know. So I don't know. So I don't know. That's what he meant to say. So I don't know. Maybe we'll get an opportunity to show what we can really do as a group, because a lot of these other groups who are out there now have definitely gotten an opportunity that we haven't gotten. That we haven't had to do. Excuse me. Definitely got an opportunity that we haven't had to do some storyline stuff. Some character stuff. Right. That's what. For some reason I can't read. But you know what I mean by that. That's kind of been a shame, mate, to be honest, considering the talent that's in there. So, yeah, when it comes to the Brawling Brutes, and I'll be the first one to tell you. Up front. When they first started the group, my initial reaction was, meh. Jobber group. Sheamus, Rich Holland, Butch, Pete Dunne. Meh. Honestly, I didn't really think they were all that special. The only thing good about them was freaking Pat McAfee screaming, "Fight Night!" every time they come out. That shit's hilarious. Pat McAfee got people over. Pat got people over, man. I miss Pat McAfee. I really do. But Sheamus, though. Sheamus in this Brawling Brute stable. I didn't really get invested in it until his feud with, of all people, Gunther, Gunther, and Imperium. To me, that was the wake up that I needed for Sheamus. Because for the longest time, I've always seen him as a guy for WWE, but I never saw him as like a legitimate name. As like someone that could sell out arenas. He was just a good hand. His matches, his series of matches with Gunther, the one at Clash of the Castle, the one on SmackDown, and then the WrestleMania match, all of them were sheer classics. It was that match, that series of matches, that feud, that opened my eyes to how good Sheamus is. He's a real one, man. This guy is a great performer. And I'm sad that it took me took me 12, 13 years to figure it out. Better late than never, right? And I get that. You had an awesome storyline with Volta, or Gunther, and then all of a sudden, what happened to it? Sheamus was supposed to win the IC title. That was the long-term story, and then they said, nah, no more. And they cut it off. And through that story, you were helping to get over the Brawling Brutes, Ridge Holland and Butch. But the problem is now, they're not doing anything. They had a story with Imperium, and then you went away from it. Now what? Exactly. Like, that is frustrating. When you're not doing anything, it ain't this is not what he did this and this. It's a what have you done for me lately type of industry. And as of lately, Sheamus hasn't done anything. So I would be frustrated too. It's only a matter of time before more wrestlers come out and say how frustrated they are. Because Sheamus isn't just some dude anymore. He used to be. Now, this guy, he has some pull now. If he didn't before, he definitely does now. Because he proved himself. He proved himself with those series of matches with Gunther. He's a legit player. He's awesome. But what else can be said that hasn't already been said before? When the company is run by out-of-touch old men who don't give a shit about you or the TV product or the wrestlers even, and when I say you, I mean the people watching me, all they care about is the money. Here goes the money. That's all I care about. What can you expect from them? So I feel sorry for Sheamus, but it is one of those things, and people like Natalya as well, I will say this about, you know who you're working for. You know when you wake up and you show up at that arena, you know exactly what to expect. When Vince McMahon came back, you knew exactly how things were going to go. So, at least he's speaking out about it. That's great. I'm happy that we're speaking out about it now. But if you're expecting things to get better, it's not. Not until he leaves. That's why I've been saying Raw and SmackDown as of lately is hardly watchable now. It's a political dumpster fire. Because you got these shows with these great talents, but we got people running the show that just change shit for the sake of changing it. And then you got fans that defend it for no damn reason. They know this shit sucks and it's worse since Vince came back. But they'll do whataboutisms. What about, ain't about what about. And quit calling fans hypocrites. That's not going to change the fact that it sucks. Stay on topic. The show is worse off now than it was a couple of months ago before WrestleMania. Period. It was. That's not something that I'm making up. That's an actual fact. Well, fans keep showing up. They keep showing up because WWE has built up good faith again through Triple H. And a lot of these shows, they've already sold out way before they sell out shows months in advance before we even get here. Like, I follow WrestleTix, on Twitter. And when WWE comes up, when they show the WWE ticket sales, each and every single one of them already sold out. Because they book these arenas months in advance. Unlike AEW, who books the arenas, I think, either weeks in advance or monthly. Yeah, WWE is way ahead of the pack. Because, keep this in mind, by the time we get to WrestleMania, they've already booked an arena for another WrestleMania. They literally book everything a year in advance. So, if you know WWE's coming to your town January and it's May, you're going to buy tickets really fast. They've already built up the good faith through Triple H, and that's why these arenas are selling out. Let's see how well that sticks as time goes by. Next year, if Vince is still in charge by next year, those ticket sales will not be this high. Guarantee you. Oh, guarantee you. Remember this statement a year from now. Guarantee you, Vince McMahon, if he's still in charge, WWE will not be selling out the arenas they're selling because of him. Period. And things are not going to get better until they're out of the way. Simple as that. So, Sheamus, you know what you got to do, man. You got to bro kick the old man and get Triple H back in charge, and then things will be better. So, those are the two topics I wanted to get to. With that said, man, let's not waste any time. Let's go ahead and get to the Q&A. I see people are arguing with Jason Lewis in the chat. They're giving Jason Lewis a hard time because Jason Lewis is defending the WWE. Well, fans, y'all have fun debating him. I'll get to that in a second. I gotta do these Q&A questions on... Do I want to start with YouTube or Facebook? I'll start with Facebook. We'll start with Facebook right now, and then we'll go to YouTube. But yeah, get your questions in. Go ahead and send them to me in the live chat. If I miss them, please repost them, because there's a lot of people already here, and after a certain amount of comments or live chat comments, it passes your question up. So let's go ahead and get things started. We have Matthew Carter, who asked me, "Hey Alex, it's been a while since you had a Q&A video." It really has been a while, like a year. "I look forward to being a part of it. It should be fun. Adios." Okay, Matthew, that's great. What's your question, Matthew? I have to look for your question. I have to scroll up. There it is. He says, "Since you interviewed WWE superstars, would you interview Asuka if you could?" Absolutely. Kana? Asuka? On my channel? Absolutely. If she wanted to be on my channel, I would interview her. How would that interview go? If I could interview Asuka, man, that would be a fun interview. What would we do? What would I ask her? Does she even understand English? That would be kind of fun. Man, I don't know. I would probably spend most of the time translating what she said. Interesting. Let me see. Will you be watching Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny? No, because I haven't seen any Indiana Jones films. Not gonna talk about that. We're just gonna move on. Thank you, Matthew. Mr. Matthew Carter. Next up, Anthony Joseph. This is a personal question. Okay. Who was your favorite wrestler when you were young? And how you got into wrestling and got to where you are today? Thank you for that question. Growing up, I had two favorite wrestlers. Hulk Hogan. Well, Hollywood Hulk Hogan. And Stone Cold Steve Austin. My family, and I've said this many times before, wrestling has always been a part of my family. My stepdad literally used to work at a wrestling event. He worked in the concession stands during a wrestling event. I think my great grandfather was involved in wrestling somehow. I might have to ask him about that. But apparently, wrestling has always been a part of my family. So I've always known about Hogan. I've always known about, Macho Man Randy Savage, the Grahams, the Von Erichs, Dusty Rhodes. I'd be here all day just ratting off. Rest in peace to the Iron Sheik, even him. I've known about it, but I haven't really become a fan of it until Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels, 1998. That's when I started watching regularly on my time. And I believe, and even to this day, you cannot honestly sit here and tell me the wrestling business will be where it is if it wasn't for Hulk Hogan and or Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those two men defined the entire sport. Hulk Hogan defined wrestling in the 80s. Austin defined wrestling in the 90s. And then you can argue John Cena defined wrestling in the 2000s. And I'm assuming Roman Reigns defined wrestling in this era, I suppose. I don't know. But, yeah, those two are my favorites. And yeah, I just got into wrestling when I was 8 years old. I just remember seeing Mike Tyson on a wrestling program and went, "Oh, Mike Tyson." And I love what happened. I just became a fan. Now, I'm pretty sure that's not a sexy story, but that's my story. I've been watching WCW, WWE, ECW ever since. I've been a fan of wrestling. And I want to say this too, because so many people are very judgmental and they put people down for how they got into wrestling. If you watch wrestling at any point in time, whatever amount, wherever it is, whenever it is, you're a wrestling fan. If you just watch Stardom, but you don't watch WWE or AEW, you're a wrestling fan. If you watch AEW, but you don't watch WWE or Stardom, you're a wrestling fan. I hate people that require you to watch everything to be a wrestling fan. That's an elitist attitude. Shut the hell up. Period. Tell me when I'm telling lies. I stole that from CM Punk, I know. But I love saying it, so guess what? I'm going to keep saying it. Tell me when I'm telling lies. Thank you, Anthony, for that question. Al Johnson from Brooklyn asked me 4 questions. Who, when, is the next interview? Melina. Melina is the next interview. I am saving up money right now to interview her. Those of you who don't know, it's $175 to get her in an interview. I'm trying to save up for that. I'm hoping by next month I can lock her in by August. So I'm going to work really hard with these upcoming live streams and videos to get these numbers up to at least get extra money, $175 to interview her. And once I have it, I'm going to send it to her. We'll do the interview. I'll ask you guys to send me questions, and it's going to be fun because she is a bundle of joy, and I love her. But yeah, like Melina is going to be massive. Biggest celebrity crush. Now? Do I have a celebrity crush? I don't think I do. I had tons of them when I was younger. Like when I was younger, it was Halle Berry. I saw her on Boomerang and the Flintstone movie with John Goodman as Fred Flintstone. And then I had Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, Amy Jo Johnson. And then I had Buffy the Vampire Slayer. I was about to say, Sarah Michelle Gellar, who is that hoe? And then I was like, who's that? And then, random one, Sidney Prescott. Sidney Prescott from Scream. Nev Campbell, in case you guys don't know. Yeah. And as time went by, Jennifer Lopez. I don't think I've actually had a crush on I'd never had a crush on Paris Hilton. Britney Spears, massive crush on Britney Spears. I guess you're asking the biggest celebrity crush, right? I guess the biggest name of those girls I just named. It's either Beyonce or Britney Spears. Who's bigger? Beyonce, right? Beyonce. There you go. Beyonce. Still Beyonce. I don't understand how Jay-Z cheated on her. I don't get it. How do you cheat on Beyonce? I understand cheating with Beyonce. You get me? Like, you can cheat with her. Matter of fact, man, if you were in a relationship, Beyonce comes up to you, she's like, I want you for a night. Your girlfriend would be like, boy, you better get in that bed. Man, your girlfriend would be like, can I join you too? You cheat with Beyonce. You don't cheat on Beyonce. So, to answer your question, Beyonce. Top 5 sexiest women in wrestling. Currently. Ooh, okay. Ooh, currently. Well, Miss Thickness. That would be Toni Storm. Well, Jamie Hayter, too. Jesus Christ. tie between those two. There's already two. Jamie Hayter, Toni Storm, Sky Blue. I've been feeling Chelsea Green as of lately. Anyone else just look at Chelsea Green and go, fuck, she fine. That's Zack Ryder's girl. All these women are taken. Who gives a damn? You know, I'm gonna be real with you. Other than maybe a handful, I haven't been looking at the women like that. We don't see a lot of sex appeal. Right? I can't say Trish Stratus. Yes, I can. I can't say Trish Stratus because she's working currently. Ha! Trish Stratus. You said currently. And she is working. So Trish Stratus, thank you for that. But yeah, like back in the day, you had Lita, Trish, Maria Kanellis. Well, Maria's still working on Ring of Honor. So I guess I can say her. Tori Wilson, Stacy Keibler. Oh, man. Even Crystal Marshall. Even Victoria. Dagnabbit. Man, the women back then. Candice Michelle. Ooh. Even Sable. Man, Sable, even in her old age, can still get it. Shit. Have you seen her recently? She can get it. Yeah, bruh. It's hard for me to pick. I would say Deonna Purrazzo, but we'll talk about her in a later date. I actually might end up having to talk about Deonna. I'm trying to wait and see if things resolve, but it's not resolving. So there'll probably be a video about that in the future, and it's gonna burn some bridges, but I don't give a fuck. Let me see here. Number 1, I know you said that you'll figure out your replacement for the Raw and SmackDown reviews, but aren't you worried about your channel possibly not growing due to you only covering WWE premium live events? I think the problem with a lot of these creators, especially the wrestling creators, WWE content creators, they feel boxed in, obligated to talk about WWE because they feel like it's a job. They turn it into a job. It's my job to talk about WWE. It really isn't my job to talk about anything. I make it my job. The reason why I tell people that I only talk about WWE around, certain times of the week or certain times of the year is because that's when it's the hottest. October, when nothing's going on, there's no reason to talk about WWE. Past WrestleMania, May, there's no reason to talk about WWE. February, that's another dead month. There's no reason. December, there's no reason. But Rumble season, WrestleMania season, the summer, when people are home, and then November, Thanksgiving-ish, Survivor Series, those are periods of time you talk about wrestling. Other than that, I'm not going to waste your time. The thing about that is people want me to talk about a show that they themselves don't watch. Half the time, people are just eyeballing it. So, why waste my time doing a live review about Raw and or SmackDown when I don't even watch it? See, I can still do WWE live streams. I can always talk about WWE. I just don't need to talk about the shows because the shows suck. I can talk about the pay-per-views. We got a pay-per-view once a month, practically. So it's not like I'm not going to be doing WWE content. I'm just not going to do Raw and SmackDown reviews. And a lot of these content creators feel like they have to do Raw and SmackDown reviews. No, you don't. And the great thing about me is, sure, I have people that donate. I have people that actually show up and contribute to the channel. Do you understand that most of my monetary gains, most of the people that donate, they don't watch WWE? Currently, my YouTube Super Chat champion, nickname Mai, shout out to him. He's defending his belt on Sunday. He only shows up for AEW reviews. And that guy, just this past month, along with Franklin Torres, who also shows up for AEW reviews, those two alone have done over $1,000 in donations. There are two people I watch. JD from NY is one of them. Solid Monster. I can just say their name. Solid Monster, JD from NY. They don't even get that much money. JD has people that do donate 100, 200, 300. Some guy sometimes give him 500. Even he doesn't get over $1,000. I'm in a very privileged position to where I don't have to talk about WWE, Raw, and SmackDown every single week. And that's because I built a safe space for wrestling fans like you. That's not just a branding term. That's not just branding. I really mean that. People feel safe to come up here and speak their minds and really contribute to the channel. And I'm grateful for it. And I thank them for it. And I'm proud of them for investing in me. You get me? I'm never going to give people a hard time for their opinions. I'm never going to give anybody grief for how they feel. Ever. I treat people how I want to be treated. And the only time I might be an asshole to you is if you're an asshole to me first. I return your energy. But yeah, like to answer your question, yeah, I can honestly say I'm in a very privileged position to where I don't need to do Raw and SmackDown. Matter of fact, I probably make more money just doing AEW and Collision and then condensing down the WWE stream to one stream. Therefore, the people who want to hear me talk about Raw or SmackDown or anything involving WWE will tune into that stream. And don't have to worry about watching multiple videos. They'll just watch one big video and that will actually get me more money, probably. Probably get me more views. So, I feel good about the decision I'm about to make. When SummerSlam is done, we'll do one more week of Raw and SmackDown, and then following that, I'm going to just condense everything down to one stream for WWE. And then it will I'm thinking about either doing it on Sunday or sometime in the middle of the week, because I do want to watch Raw and SmackDown. So what we'll do is, weekly, we'll do uploads or live streams, whatever the fuck. And then Wednesday, Saturday, Collision, and then AEW Dynamite. And then we'll do the big live stream for Raw and SmackDown on Sunday. And see how that works. If it doesn't work, I'll just go back to live streaming Raw and SmackDown. But I'm in a great position to experiment. Right? So there you go. Thank you for asking that, though. I'm happy people... I'm so happy people are so invested in what I do that they start to live vicariously through me and go, dude, I don't know if this is a good idea. I'm like, that's probably not. And honestly, Al, I might take a hit and might have to start doing live Raw and SmackDown reviews again. But until then, take a rest, see what happens. But thank you for the question. Charles Mitchell from Norfolk, Virginia. If you could give Triple H a proper retirement match because he never really got one, who would you have him fight as his last opponent? Seth Rollins. I didn't even have to think about that. If not Seth Rollins, Cody Rhodes. Those are the only two that he should retire with. And if I had to choose one or the other, probably Cody Rhodes. But yeah, definitely those two. Who was your favorite comic book movie villain from the Marvel Cinematic Universe or the DCEU? Ooh. No, he says and. So, and Marvel and DC. Okay. So, 2. Well, Thanos, so far. He's the best one. Kane the Conqueror. Jonathan Majors. Hope he does okay. If he's guilty, throw him in jail. But if he's not, he should... God, that is gonna make Hollywood look so bad. If Jonathan Majors is proven innocent, that's gonna make Hollywood look horrible. Horrible. So he better be guilty. It's not even a matter of if he better be guilty or everyone looks bad. But no, Kang the Conqueror is probably... I loved Kang's portrayal in Ant-Man Quantumania, although I don't like the movie Quantumania. I do like Kang in that film. But yeah, Thanos, for sure. That's one of my favorites of all time, honestly. Thanos is amazing. DC. Ooh, DC. I guess Heath Ledger, right? Heath Ledger's the Joker. I know that's cheap, right? Of course, Heath Ledger. What do you want me to say? If it's not Heath Ledger, it would be Jack Nicholson. It's gonna be the Joker. The Joker and Thanos. Wow, that's quite a duo, right? You're welcome. Anthony from New Jersey. With all the talent they have, and with the network, try this again. With all the talent they have, and with the network they're on, how is it that AEW can't do an easy million viewers each week? Well, Anthony, that is a good question. I think when it comes to AEW, they're not really in the business of building their audience anymore. They've kind of reached a point where they found their niche and they're working with it. Because when you've come in contact with a big corporation, a conglomerate, like Warner Brothers Discovery, and now they're involved in your product, and now you're doing billions, perhaps, in revenue yearly over time because of the marketing of Warner Brothers Discovery, and now you're getting promoted and marketed a lot more, and now you're getting revenue for new TV deals and all this other stuff, and you're getting promoted because now you're advertising certain shows or movies. They now use your platform as a way to advertise products that Warner Brothers has. So what ends up happening when you are now like a big part of a company like Warner Brothers, you stop really caring about growing your audience, because your audience now becomes servicing your masters, which in this case is Warner Brothers. David Zaslav, to be more exact. But no, yeah, it's one of those things where they're in a very unique position right now to serve certain other masters, and those masters, Warner Brothers Discovery, are happy with them being at 800 each week. So Tony Khan isn't really trying to grow his audience or expand because he doesn't need to anymore. He doesn't have to. Is that good? Probably not. But you asked me a question and I gave it to you. It's the same thing with WWE. WWE is in a position, they're in a position now where they don't really have to grow their audience. They're good. They're already making hand over fist billions of dollars each year by existing. So why grow the audience? Why go through all that work? We made it. They made it. Another reason, let me answer it for you this way. I think another reason why AEW just isn't making the numbers that they used to, and I gotta be honest with you, it's not me trying to be critical because I love AEW. I've always been a fan of this. I've always been a fan of what they're doing. But part of the reason, and I've seen it happen before, the reason why I believe AEW is struggling to maintain about as much as they would like to maintain, which is 1 million views each and every single week, is because they don't have any stars. Think about the people on that roster. Look at who they got. Yes, you have Britt Baker. Yes, you have MJF. Yes, you got names. But do you have a Roman Reigns? Do you have... Well, you have a CM Punk now. But do you have a Cody Rhodes? You don't have him no more. You don't have a Brody Lee no more. You don't have a Goldberg. You have a Sting. You have a Chris Jericho. But you don't have people, or even if you have the stars, you don't have the stories that make people go, I gotta watch every single week. The truth is, when it comes to AEW, it's a great product to watch, but a lot of the people who are on these shows, and I gotta be honest with you, if Swerve Strickland Swear Strickland was to walk into a store, Food Town right next to me. You think that entire show, do you honestly think Food Town would shut down because people heard that he was there? No, they would just go about their business. If Becky Lynch was here at Food Town, they would have to shut that shit down. If Roman Reigns was here, oh God, I wouldn't go nowhere. You get what I mean? Like, we have names, but do we have stars? The only star they got is CM Punk. That might piss off a lot of people. But that's true. With that said, I did see that Dynamite did a pretty good rating this week. I think they did like 900K, right? Let me look it up. Let me look at the AEW Dynamite rating, because I think it was pretty good. Brian Alvarez has it. Usually he has it up ready to go. Let me see. Brian Alvarez. They did... What? I was going to say 950. No, 950 was... That's Seth and Braun. So Seth and Braun Breaker did 950 viewers, which is when I tuned in. So, yeah, that makes sense. Of course they did. That's Seth Rollins, baby. Here it is. Dynamite did 902. Yeah, 902. And then check this out. You talk about 1 million viewers. MJF and Adam Cole, their segment did over 1 million views. The first hour, they said, was over 1 million views. It just dropped off. It dropped off at the second hour. Matter of fact, let me go to Brandon Thurston. I always go to Brandon for my usual breakdown of ratings, because Brandon is really good with that. So if I go to quarterly hours for AEW Dynamite, and I might pull this up really quickly. He's putting it on Patreon. You a hoe. You's a hoe. I said that you's a hoe. He's not a hoe. You ain't a hoe. Let me see here. I think I might be able to find it here. So, I can't find an hourly breakdown, but I found the line. Yeah, like, the first hour was either like over 1 million or really close to it, and then it just dropped afterwards. And that's why it averages out. It averages out after a while. But the first hour, you had CM Punk, MJF, Adam Cole. That first hour was ridiculous, though. A lot happened that first hour. So, yeah, I think the main reason why we don't get a lot of people watching these shows is because we don't see a lot of stars. Does AEW have stars? Absolutely. Bryan Danielson, Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks are stars, whether you like it or not. MJF is a star. CM Punk, like I said, he's the big time name though. That's a big star. That's a superstar, if anything else. Yeah, I go. There are people outside of wrestling who know about CM Punk, for better or worse. They know about CM Punk. Yeah, man, like, they have stars. But who do you see on TV often? Like, every week, you see Orange Cassidy. You see Hook. I love Hook, but you see... Sammy Guevara, Jungle Boy, John Moxley, that's another big name. John Moxley, Bryan Danielson. So they have stars, okay? But it's one of those things where when you feature non-stars a lot weekly, you're going to get low viewers. Does that mean they won't be stars in the future? Absolutely not. You have to build that. You have to build those stars. Eddie Kingston, I love Eddie Kingston, but that's another name. If Eddie Kingston shows up here at Food Town, maybe a handful will go up to him and say hi. But he's not going to shut things down. Darby Allin is quickly becoming a superstar. I love Darby Allin. But again, if Darby Allin showed up here at Food Town, it's not going to shut down. All right? So we need to define what a star is. Because so many people they hear that term superstar. Because WWE has completely deflated that term because they call all their wrestlers superstars. No, not every wrestler is a superstar. Okay? The Rock is a megastar. That's not true. John Cena is a megastar. John Cena, The Rock, Stone Cold, those are megastars. Hulk Hogan is a megastar. These guys can't even go to the corner store. They can't go to the corner store. Okay? Those are megastars. But Hangman Adam Page. I mean, put it to you this way. I was at Comic Palooza last month. Lita McFoley. Legend. Lita and Mick Foley are legends. Legends in wrestling. When you talk about female wrestling, when you talk about the best females of the sport, most of the women who do what they do in wrestling today do it because of Lita. Alright? They were given the auditorium. Lita and Mick Foley. They didn't pack it out. They didn't pack it out. Think about that for a minute. Think about what I just told you. Lita and Mick Foley. Legends. Definite superstars. New York Best Time seller. Lita did a couple of... Wasn't she on TV? Didn't pack it out. They didn't pack it out. You have to understand that when I say superstar, it's not a discredit to what they've done inside the business. It's not a discredit to who they are. I think every single person on the AEW roster, for the most part, other than maybe a few, are absolute stars. I love every single one of them. I think they're great talent, and they are amazing at what they do. You get me? When I say superstar or a megastar, I'm talking about someone that if you say their name to a random person, they go, oh, I know who that is. Sting. I say, who? Hey, you know who Sting is? Oh, Sting the wrestler? Hulk Hogan. Oh, Hulk Hogan? If I say, the Young Bucks, they'd be like, who? The Young Bucks, the hell? Sky Blue. The Rock? Oh, Dwayne The Rock Johnson? Oh, hell yeah. Stone Cold Steve Austin. Oh, yeah. Give me a hell yeah. See, that's what a star is. Okay? Dana Brooke is not a star. Just so we're clear. I love me Bianca Belair. Bianca Belair one day will be a star. But today, if she shows up at Food Town, is anybody going to stop what they're doing? No. Alexa Bliss? Maybe. Alexa Bliss, now, see, that one's a maybe. Mercedes Sasha Banks? Yes. See, Mercedes Bernardo is a star. Mercedes can sell out a building by herself. Listen here. Okay? I've seen videos of when Mercedes is doing these autograph signings. I've seen what kind of an audience she draws. Becky Lynch. I was here in Houston when Becky Lynch did an autograph signing. The line was so long, because it was at Cricket Wireless, right? It wrapped around the entire fucking complex. There was no way she was going to get to all those fans. That is a star. So people get upset when I say we don't have stars. Please don't be offended by that. It's not me saying that these guys are terrible. We need to understand what a star is. Exactly. A star is someone that they don't have to watch them and they know who they are. Some of you don't even listen. Have any of you even listened to Beyonce's newest record? So if I start singing, you won't break my soul, you won't break my soul, you won't break my soul, you won't break my soul. I said, could you finish that? Probably not. But you know who Beyonce is, right? Because she's a star. What was the last Vin Diesel movie you saw? Half of you said Fast 10. The other half of you said Guardians of the Galaxy. And the other half said who? The third half said who? But you know who Vin Diesel is. Those are stars. This wrestling bubble that we live in, everybody's a star. No. Not everybody can be a superstar. Not everybody can be a superstar. Because if that's the case, I'm a star. You get me? So, that's what I mean. I'm not trying to knock any of these people, give them a hard time and say that they're not important. But the reality of the situation is a lot of these people in AEW are not stars. They're great talent. They're great to watch. But there's only a handful of stars, man. Hey, controversial take, but that's what I believe. NXT scored 773,000 on Tuesday. Does that mean more main roster talent will appear on NXT? Oh, absolutely. They're currently in TV negotiations to get some new TV deals for NXT, so they're going to be throwing a lot more main roster talent on there. And I just saw that, like I said, Rollins and Breakker did $950K. So, yeah. Absolutely, they're going to be throwing more NXT talent, more main roster talent on NXT. I'd be surprised if they didn't. All right. Thank you so much, Anthony. Given the amount of time it's been since Tony Khan bought Ring of Honor, and who he has essentially, he said and who he has essentially had to rebuild it from the ground up, wouldn't it have made more sense to buy Impact instead? I don't think so. You would have still had the same problem. Now, Tony Khan could still buy Impact. He could buy Impact, PWG, Rev Pro, and turn them all into feeder systems for AEW. Same problem that he would have with Ring of Honor. The problem is that Tony Khan is one man running two wrestling promotions. You think Ring of Honor is like, what, NXT? No, that's not a feeder. That is his own wrestling promotion with his own audience and its own marketing. That's Ring of Honor. It's not AEW Ring of Honor, although it really should be at this point. But no, it's Ring of Honor. It's another wrestling promotion. So Tony Khan buying Impact, it's not like it's going to be a feeder system for AEW. He's just buying Impact. It's still Impact. Does that make sense? So, it doesn't really change anything at all. But yeah, I see what you mean, though. You're saying that, well, Impact is more well-known. Impact has a bigger following. Impact has created more stars. So it would have made more sense if it was Impact. Probably. But I still don't think we'd be anywhere different. It would just be where it is now. and everyone would be working for Tony, and the big stars like Mickey James and Deonna Purrazzo would be moved up to AEW, and then the other people would be on Impact. The people who work Ring of Honor would be on Impact. Tell me when I'm telling lies. So that's going to do it for Facebook. Now we're going to get to the Yuba of the Tubas. So here are the questions I have on YouTube. This comes from David Jr. Is it better to have Cody versus Brock at SummerSlam or at Money in the Bank? And do you think Cody should have been in Money in the Bank? I do think Cody should have won Money in the Bank and cashed in on Roman Reigns. That would have been the right choice. The best choice. As much as I love LA Knight and do think he should win next Saturday. He won't, but he should win. I think the best choice this year would have been Cody Rhodes. If I had it my way, Cody would have beaten Brock in Saudi Arabia, and we wouldn't be doing this feud again. If I had it my way. But we're not having it my way. They're going to do the match one more time at SummerSlam, and it is what it is. People want to see Cody win the belt, not fight Brock. That's what they want. Justin from Madisonville, Kentucky. Or is it? Yeah, Kentucky. I say it right. Who do you credit for making you a wrestling fan? Which person, man or woman, who was underutilized would you have liked to get a run either with a mid-card title or a world championship? So he asked me 2 questions. Well, the first part of that question I'll answer with this. There would be no wrestling if it wasn't for Vince McMahon, Hulk Hogan. Those 2 men are the reason why we're here. In terms of who I credit for making me a wrestling fan, Shawn Michaels and Stone Cold Steve Austin. Those 2. Those are the 2 men I watched, and both of them were amazing. As for who do I think is underutilized who could have liked to run with a mid-card title or a world championship, Damian Sandow. Damian Sandow, Aaron Stevens. The fact that they never gave him a shot is, I cannot tell you how fucked up that is. Cannot tell you how screwed up that is. You cannot understand how much I loved the savior of the masses, the intellectual savior of the masses. That was such silence. That was such an awesome gimmick. And they never did anything with it. He was so good. He was so good. Damian Sandow, as the intellectual savior of the masses, might be the one gimmick that WWE screwed up and should have been a world champion. But if you want, here's the thing. I don't even think he won a title. Shelton Benjamin has won multiple titles, just not the world title. Jake the Snake Roberts has won titles, just not the world title. Yeah, I don't know, man. That's crazy. To answer your question, I'm going with Damian Sandow. What is a wrestling match you believe had the potential to be a classic, but never quite lived up to it? Ooh, that's a good question. There's plenty of those, actually. The one that comes to mind is AJ Styles versus Shinsuke Nakamura at WrestleMania. Yeah, remember that one? 2018. Yeah, Nakamura and AJ Styles. We all said that was going to be a classic, and then it ended up being good. Ouch. That one stung. Yeah, that one might be the only one where I was just like, what the fuck happened? You know? Is the Bloodline story the greatest? Actually, back that up. SummerSlam 2003 Elimination Chamber. That should have been one of the greatest matches I've seen, and then the ending fucked it up. There you go, those 2. Is the Bloodline storyline the greatest story ever told in the world of professional wrestling? This is Micah Does It. Is the Bloodline storyline the greatest story ever told in the world of professional wrestling? Like, period. No. Is it one of the greatest stories? Absolutely. But the greatest story? To me, NWO, Austin and McMahon, those are still legendary. Those two storylines, those two very long overarching plots, to me, those defined a generation and brought new eyes to the product. Will the Bloodline storyline define this generation? 1,000%. Is it one of the best storylines in WWE history? Why not? I would definitely put it in the top 10. Is Roman Reigns going down as one of the best villains in WWE history? Absolutely. Is this the best storyline of the modern day era? Absolutely. So it depends on how you ask the question. I can probably give you the answer that you're looking for. But you said of all time, like ever in the history of wrestling over the last century. I don't know about that, man. I don't know about that. I don't know. Like, even the Crow Sting storyline was better. And then, again, Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon. There have been better storylines. I'd be here all day just naming them. But, it's definitely one of the better ones out there. Definitely the best of the modern era. For sure. Slim Jim, have you watched the old WCW Battle Bowl Lethal Lottery? I've seen it. I've actually had a chance to go back and watch some of that. I'm happy that we're doing that in AEW, but it's called the Blind Tag Team Tournament. That's going to be fun. That's such an awesome gimmick. And see, in this instance, it makes sense. So much more sense to have random tag teams, because you're supposed to. That's the premise. WWE just does it because. Here, it makes sense. So I'm excited about that. Is that going to do it for the YouTube portion? All right, I guess we'll spend the rest of the stream answering live chat questions. So go ahead and get your live chat questions in. And by the way, if you're here and you donated, I did turn on super chats, so you can always get your donations in. Were you guys roasting Jason Lewis? Giving him a hard time? You brought this on yourself, Jason. Let me see here. I'm just going to go through and see if I can spot some questions here. If Drew McIntyre becomes a free agent in 2024, who should he face? Well, first off, where's he going to go? What, AEW? Or New Japan Pro Wrestling? If he goes to New Japan Pro Wrestling, Okada. Without question. If he goes to AEW, everybody. Everybody, getting to it, getting stupid. Everybody, let's get it started. Let's get it started, yeah. Yeah, everybody. Let me see here. Who would want to interview Asuka? Who you got winning Money in the Bank? Well, as of right now, it's Logan Paul, but we'll see by next week when I do my preview and predictions. Would you interview wrestlers from other promotions? Absolutely. Who y'all want to see? I look like Static Shock. Have you ever watched the show? That used to be my show. Superhero Static Shock. Woo woo. Superhero Static Shock. Woo woo. I like the Romeo remix of it. Of his theme song. Vince McMahon really got tired of civilian life. Yes, he did. Would you be wanting to run WWE since you actually have a brain? Pay me. And then yes. How's my day going? Simply Deep. Thank you so much, Simply Deep. My day is going great. If Vince McMahon ever leaves, what do you think Drew McIntyre and Bray Wyatt should do? We're assuming that they stay. And they're still here after Vince McMahon leaves. But to answer your question, if Vince McMahon is gone and Bray Wyatt stays with Drew McIntyre, I would have Bray Wyatt beat Cody Rhodes for the world title. That's what I would do. That would be pretty big. CM Punk's still the best in the world. I agree. Shadowstar, how would you feel if AEW worked with companies like MLW, PWG, Women's Wrestling Army, and WOW? Well, they are working with Women's Wrestling Army. I don't know if they're working with WOW, but they have CM Punk, so that might be a thing. I think they've always had a partnership with PWG because they let some of their AEW wrestlers go over there and wrestle. MLW, I don't know, but it would be nice because they do have a lot of talent. And so, yeah, can Reign of Terror Triple H beat Roman Reigns right now? No. Roman's so much better than Reign of Terror Triple H. He would get snuffed. People are asking me who are the sexiest people. Some of y'all are saying Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton? No. Tiffany is an excellent wrestler. She is not that pretty. And honestly, I look at Tiffany and I go, we'll talk about her. Nah, I'm not going to do that because y'all are fans of her. This is why I don't watch NXT. I just don't. Nikita. I forgot about Nikita Lyon. There you go. Thick Kita. Mamacita. Mercedes Moné, of course. Sasha Fine. Say Mercedes comes back and you're in charge of the promotion. What kind of storyline would you have her do? Wow. Mercedes in a storyline. I would have her play the Hollywood storyline. Where, first off, it's like kind of like what they did with Jade Cargill, but better. And the reason why I say better is because Mercedes, first off, is 100 times better inside the ring than Jade Cargill, and I love Jade. She's also a bigger star. So essentially, what they did with Jade Cargill, but with Mercedes, give her a group, have her be a superstar. She would be phenomenal. Same booking. Speaking of Collision, do you ever wonder what they will do to make it stand out? CM Punk. There you go. No, I'm joking. Yeah, on Saturdays, that's going to be rough. I have no idea what you do when football season and all these major shows that you have to compete against, like WWE pay-per-views, PLEs, whatever you want to call it. What are you going to do? If Vince leaves, what do you think Drew already rest? Some of y'all are asking the same questions. The Bloodline arc, the Bloodline story arc, was just to get to the modern day audience and a blueprint to WWE that pacing and coherency is important. Look at this guy, Michael Walker over here speaking facts. Thank you, sir. All right, y'all. I am burnt out. We'll do this last question and I'm gonna get out of here. What do you think would be AEW's NWO moment? And do you think it is ever going to happen? What do I think would be AEW's NWO moment? Honestly, to be quite honest with you, if there ever is going to be one, it's gotta be whatever's involving CM Punk and the Elite. That will be the feud that could potentially put them in that stratosphere with the WWE. But they gotta do it, man. They gotta do it. I don't know when it's going to happen, but it's got to happen. Guys, that's it. That is my Q&A. As I said, I will not be up here tomorrow to do a SmackDown review. So that's why you got a Q&A today. So I hope you enjoyed it. But in the meantime, thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy my mental health day tomorrow. So hopefully nothing crazy happens and fucks it up. But in the meantime, thank you guys for watching. I'm going to get out of here because I'm tired. As you follow out, please do all the YouTube things. Like the video, subscribe, click that bell to catch all my content when it comes out. Follow me on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Cameo, and TikTok. And donate using PayPal, Patreon, Cash App, Venmo, and of course, Cameo. I appreciate that. You guys are awesome. You guys are amazing. Please take care of yourselves. And always know, you are welcomed right here in Alyx's world. A place that is, was, and forever will be a safe space for wrestling fans like you. This is Alyx, just Alyx, signing out. Peace.